Spider-Man 2 leaves nearly no stone unturned when it comes to adapting the potential and possibilities of comic book stories that many of us grew up with. What unfolds in this story is absolutely bonkers, but bonkers in the best ways, with yet another action-packed dive into the realm of some of the most iconic characters in comics. At times, the pacing is so fast you barely have time to react to the madness on screen, while at others, there are heartfelt moments that let you marinate in the complexity and humanness of the protagonist, absorbing it in one long breath. Just the intro alone lets you know what kind of experience you're in for, which is one of epic proportions and bombastic sequences, and to me this is where it's at its strongest. You really just have to buckle up and let the superhero shenanigans wash over you in an awesome wave. Miles and Peter really have their hands full, as New York City is once again invaded by a variety of nasty customers and longtime fan favorites. Kraven the Hunter, along with his cult-like followers, are jailbreaking Spidey villains to find an opponent he deems worthy on his quest for the ultimate prey. And I thought he was surprisingly strong character and more of a threat to Spider-Man and his cohorts than I imagined, as he is a menacing presence every time he's on screen. Venom eventually surfaces in New York, going on a rampage, bringing the city to its knees and proving to be one of the deadliest enemies we've seen thus far. He truly is a force to be reckoned with, and the team did a great job creating that "oh shit" feeling when he shows up. Even the Lizard is brought into the fray, and the action sequences with him are fun as hell. I mean, all the bosses are just fantastic. And all the while, Peter and Miles both struggle with the weight of being Spider-Man and trying to live normal lives, coping as best they can as their relationships become strained and their personal goals seem further and further out of reach. Peter is trying to juggle a job, and due to his inability to have a stable work life, he's behind on his mortgage and struggles to find time with MJ and support his best friend Harry. Miles is coping with the loss of his father, trying to get into college of his choice, pursuing a love interest, and even seeing his mom move on from his father as a widow. This humanizes Miles and Peter, who otherwise seem to teeter on the edge of invincibility, creating empathy, as we all have similar struggles we must face every day. Once the symbiote suit is introduced, though, it throws sand in the oil and tensions rise rather quickly, as those around Peter see him changing for the worse. Overall, movement is quite good and feels responsive. Swinging from webs is smooth, as I didn't think it could feel much higher than Miles Morales, but it really does. In tight quarters, you can occasionally feel the movement. I mean, it's slightly stifled, but overall it's solid. One of the biggest additions is flying. Well, gliding through the city using your newly acquired web wings, and it's really fantastic, giving a sense of speed and power unlike anything I've played in a game recently. You catch wind tunnels throughout the city, and updrafts keep you going nearly at an unlimited rate. It's satisfying as you zip by trains, buildings, and cars with style. I did find myself web swinging a significant amount of time regardless though, because it's just natural and looks so smooth, especially in a lot of these more compact areas. Combat is very well crafted, and if you played any of the previous titles, it should feel familiar, just expanded upon. Miles and Peter each have similar but different playstyles, and I prefer playing as Miles with his ability to use electricity, almost turning him into a different hero altogether. Peter utilizes his mechanical legs that sprout out his back for most of his special moves, and it looks cool, but I don't quite feel as powerful as Miles. That is until you gain access to that damn symbiote suit. And then man, you become devastating, and the hyper-aggressive grunts and yells from Peter emphasize how brutal and powerful he's become. The suit morphs around him, blasting enemies with tendril-like punches and smashing them with Morningstar-like clubs. Even the sound effects seem ramped up to boot, and I had too much fun trashing shitheads as the Black Spider and couldn't wait for the opportunity to get into a scrap. Parrying enemies is now introduced, which is essentially required for the elites that are harder to knock down and have greater defenses, where they are mostly impervious to normal attacks. The reaction window is decent, and with just a little practice, it becomes more fun and rewarding than dodging alone. You can now launch web lines that allow you to suspend yourself over enemies like a tightrope walker, snatching them up without being seen, and the animations for this are among my favorites, leading to bodies dangling midair like flies in a web. If you are quick enough on the gamepad though, you turn into an instrument of destruction and shred anyone who opposes you, and it feels great and looks even greater watching either spider do what they do. There are many upgrade paths available that expand your abilities, and you can gain options to be able to increase potency of abilities you already have. Each character has a shared tree and separate individual ones. It doesn't go crazy in depth, it's not like this advanced RPG, but altogether you can have roughly 8 abilities at your disposal, and considering how they recharge at different rates, it feels like you always have levers to pull and fight. I like that they included missions that break up the action just a bit and allow for you to control characters during exposition. These are part of the main story and not the extra missions. There's often detective style work to be done, as you will clue in on key items that lead to discoveries or allow for the pieces of the puzzle to come together more clearly, often leading to a series of steps toward your next goal. There are also moments where you can control Spider-Bot to fix wiring in a museum, play different games at a fair, cosplay as a waiter to crash a party, and much more. It's refreshing without feeling like a chore, and it never wore out its welcome or felt overused. I did, however, feel that the parts where you play as MJ really slowed the pacing down in the game for me. Every time the transition happened, I just wanted to hurry up and get it the hell over with. I didn't partake in many side quests overall, as I was engulfed in the main storyline, but by the end of the game, there's a ton of stuff to do in the city, indicated by spotlights that illuminate the sky. I do like the feature that lets you actually take injured civilians you rescued to the hospital, slinging them over your shoulder while you web swing your way there. It looks sick. And to me, it's just hella satisfying. As the iconic imagery of your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, that's what I think of. The city of New York looks great and is expanded upon in the latest iteration. I think they captured the vibe of big sprawling city very well, and it feels alive and lived in due to all the hustle and bustle, which you can hear in the audio as well. The motion capture really takes the cake with captivating performances by the voice actors and motion capture teams. It is really convincing watching them go through the motions of pain and heartache to joy and anger. The movement and combat animations are awesome and look fluid, as punches and kicks fly and walls explode into particles and dust. The game did run great for me at a smooth 60 frames per second in performance mode. It looks awesome with super high quality textures and close-ups of suits or clothing and accurate reflections of buildings and windows, which I noticed immediately. The lighting and reflections are really well done, and at times the skyline, especially in the afternoon or night, is brilliant. I did, however, have a couple bugs. None were game-breaking, but they were present and noticeable. The first was an audio bug where the dialogue of the characters was out of sync with the mouth movements and looked like a poor dub of an old kung fu flick.
I just remember feeling tired.
Pete, you're not yourself.
The second was for a moment I could not enter a specific area where there was fighting going on, even though there was no obstacles in the way and it was right in the wide open space. It kept rubber banding me away and it was annoying, as enemies I had to defeat to move on were right there. Outside of that, I didn't get any visual glitches or anything requiring me to restart my game. Final thoughts for the game are, it's greatly entertaining and I highly recommend this to anyone who played the previous Spider-Man games and enjoyed them, or anyone who is looking for a beautiful and cinematically packed game for their PS5. They really use great camera angles and were creative with their approach to battles and action sequences you'll be a part of, leading to some of the best I've seen in recent years. The bosses are outstanding and fun to battle with impressive set pieces and interactions. It took me about 18 hours to beat, but that's with doing very limited amounts of side content and focusing just on the story. At this point, it truly feels like the comics I read as a kid have now come to life, which is all I could really ask for. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Where am I? Spider-Man!
Jonah, my sunshine, you okay?
Help! I've been abducted!
What? No, I'm helping you, man.
Someone get a photo with this! Mass criminals kidnap beloved newsman!
Some things never change. Just be nice to the doctors.